Let's talk about the one skill I would learn this year in the realm of personal development. Now, when you think of a skill that you want to learn in personal development, it might be something like a journaling prompt or meditation, or maybe reading certain books or speed reading or something like that. Something that's going to help me do more and do more and do more. I think what might be a new perspective is something that is actually going to help you not do less, but is going to help you do more with less effort, do more with less energy, do more with less friction. Because let's be honest, times are not getting easier. Everything's getting harder. The dollar's going down in value. There's more competition out in the marketplace. AI is coming, and who knows what that's going to do. There's so many challenges out there. I want to learn a skill that is going to help build resilience in myself. I want a skill that is going to help me keep going no matter what happens. I want a skill that's going to help me do things easier, make things more efficient, make me learn things faster, have me be more focused, right? Reduce my distractions, reduce the noise in my head so that I can actually produce the things that matter. I want a skill that can help me do all of these things if I had to pick one. I want more focus. I want more attention. I want my energy back, right? And I'm going to tell you what it is that I think I've discovered that has allowed me to have that ability in just one simple practice. But before I get into that, I want to start with a little bit of a story. So, hey guys, my name is Andre. And a little bit about me. I was raised the youngest of three in a dysfunctional family. We all grew up in somewhat dysfunctional families. And my sisters, my older sisters, were actually pretty bossy and very stubborn and strong minded. So I grew up as the nice guy, turned into the quiet one, the perfect child, the nice guy syndrome. And in my life as an adult, not only did that result in heartbreak, but of course, it also resulted in things like people pleasing or doing what everyone else wanted to do and not doing what I wanted to do, self doubts, self criticism. I had crippling low confidence, low self esteem. All of these things actually pushed me into a career where I wasn't fulfilled, but it looks good on paper. I wasn't happy, but I was making money. I wasn't living the life that I wanted to live, but it seemed like things were kind of working and flowing for me. But really, I was not happy on the inside. So I decided to start traveling, and I ended up in Puerto Rico, where I lived for 3 years. And I decided I need to get my mind right because here's what happened. Before I left Silicon Valley, my mind was so loud and so noisy. I was so distracted. I was not happy. I had a ton of cognitive dissonance. I was crazily heartbroken several times. And I was like, something needs to change. Something is not right. So I started trying the journaling. I started trying the meditation because that's what they talk about on the internet. All the gurus, Tim Ferriss, Oprah Winfrey, whoever it was, this, I was 25 at the time. This was 2017 and 2016, 2017. And I was willing to do whatever it would take to get my focus back, to get my attention, to get my energy back, to get my joy, my happiness, my spark back, to be able to have the resilience to live the life that I wanted to because I knew I was living a life for someone else. What does it take within me to actually make the changes that I need to change? And I had to discover these things. So, fast forward a little bit, I ended up in Puerto Rico for a few years. And I had PTSD from my dad's diagnosis. I couldn't shut my brain off because it was so loud. My mind was degrading. I was starting to stutter. My alexithymia was high, which basically means you don't feel much, you're very apathetic. It is not a good place to be. And this is when I really started exploring different aspects of whatever I had to do internally to get back to a place that I thought was healthy. And so this is when I started discovering that skill. And so here's what happened. I wasn't laying down. I was sitting in my chair one day and I was trying these different meditations and these different approaches. And I'd done the journal prompts and all this stuff. And at this point, I was only working about 20 hours a week because I couldn't do more than that. I needed the time to myself to fix whatever I needed to fix so I could keep pushing through, at least, for the rest of my life. I needed to get back to normal, right? And one day when I was meditating, I felt something kind of dissolve internally. I had this like toxic sludge, this toxic feeling like right here in the middle of my chest. And I was sitting there and I was just like letting my body do whatever it wanted. I wasn't moving or anything like that, but I was just like, what's going on, body? Like, talk to me, help me, give me a sign, help me something, I need some help here. And I felt a little piece of that just dissolve. And I was like, what was that? Whatever that was, I need more of that. And so I came back the next day and I did it again. Sat down in my chair next to my bed, closed the door, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then a little bit more dissolved, and I felt lighter. I knew something had shifted. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew something had shifted. So I went back the next day and did it again, and then the next day, and then I did it for several weeks. And eventually I realized, that toxic feeling I had has kind of gone away. At least I didn't feel it yesterday. And so there was an entire day where I didn't feel it. I got to live with more of my own energy again. I was starting to get myself back. I was no longer just feeling down and lethargic. I actually had the energy to go do things that I wanted to do. I had the cognitive ability to work and to be productive in society. And so I start doing this more and more. And I still didn't know what I was doing at the time, but whatever this thing was, it was working. So I spend the next, I mean, to be honest, it was years, but I was still figuring it out as I went. And this was also COVID. COVID had just hit. So I was isolated. I just left my roommates, moved into a studio apartment, and everyone's going crazy and losing their minds. And I'm there trying to figure out this thing that I'm doing and what it is. And I'm living in mold because it's Puerto Rico and super humid. So that only adds, right, to all the mess that I'm dealing with and the isolation. And it's like I'm fighting these uphill battles. As I keep doing this work, I eventually realize what I'm doing. It's a mode, it's a modality, it's a subset of my own inner energy work. And I was surprised when I realized, oh, that's what I'm doing. Because if anyone had told me, oh, yeah, just go do some inner energy work, I'd be like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But now looking back on the thing that's helped me the most over the past 7, 8 years, it's been this. And it's hard to put words to, it's hard to describe. But if I had to pick one skill to use, and if I was going to let go of all of the other self improvement, let go of all other personal development, let go of reading the books, trying to find a therapist that can actually help me, trying to find meditations that would actually last and keep me calm and quiet the mind for a longer period of time. If I had to let go of all the supplements, if I had to let go of anything else I was doing, this would be the one thing I would do. It's helped so much. And the reason why it helps so much is because it works at such a level that nothing else can touch, because only you can do the work. Once you understand what it is, that's all you have to do. So if I had to pick just one skill to get my mind back, to focus on my self improvement and to increase my focus, to increase my resilience so that I could work through and push through whatever it was that I had to with all the uncertainties to come, this is what it would be. And the reason why this is what it would be is because the best part of what I'm calling this inner energy work, the self energy work, is it's not a fleeting list of affirmations. It's not a short term lasting 5, 10 minute meditation that, I hope pulls me through the rest of the day. It's not some motivation that I'm going to get all rah-rahed up and then I'm going to, work and then I'm going to burn out later on. It really is an effective approach at removing whatever it is that needs to be removed. Sometimes it gets sad, scary, dark. Sometimes you get into parts of you that you didn't want to look at. Sometimes it gets into parts that you forgot about. Certainly did for me. But what I've realized is that's all part of your subconscious. And Carl Jung said, until you take the subconscious, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And this is true. All the subconscious is your conditioning. I was conditioned as a young boy in that household. I was conditioned to be the nice guy. I was conditioned to be quiet. I was conditioned to do what other people wanted and not have opinions. As you uncondition, because conditioning is just software. And if conditioning has been done, I believe it can be undone. And I know it can because I've done it. All of this conditioning is bound up in your system. And when you unbind the bound, you will find your real self. It's there. Your real self is there. You just got to find him. You got to pull away the layers of the onion that are on top. And it's that self. That's where your energy is. That is where you have the focus, the clarity, the intuition, the ambition to be what you want to be who you want to be, to get through the hard times because you know what you're doing and where you're going. That is something no one can teach you. You have to get there yourself. And it's not something you're going to find with affirmations. You're not going to find it in a book. It has to come from within, but it's already there, right? This is what everyone says. You're already perfect, just as you are. Okay, yes, then why am I still suffering? All mental suffering comes from a nervous system that's suffering. The nervous system is one of the main channels for energy to flow through our body. And when that is suffering, we're going to suffer. If we can peel away the layers, the rust that have built up over the years, over the decades, and we can learn how to do this. If we can peel that away, we're going to have a much cleaner, more efficient, frictionless system. And as we live with this more frictionless system, everything I said at the beginning starts to happen. More clarity, more intuition. Decisions become easier. We care less about what other people think. We start to be ourselves more. The noise in our mind goes down. We start to have more clear direction. You become more you. It's like you're staring through the world through a windshield that is just completely dusty. But you don't know it because you've always lived it, because it's slowly accumulated little by little over time. And this is like wiping the dust off. It doesn't happen in 5 seconds, but having the skill to do it, I honestly believe is one of the most powerful things you can do. And as the world, as society evolves in awareness, in their awakening, in their consciousness, this is happening. There is a whole movement. If you're not aware, things are changing. As society awakens and we start to realize the power of the ancient wisdom that we've known for thousands of years, and we start to apply it differently, knowing what it's about from a lens that's maybe a little bit more modern, a little bit more physics based, right? You can do some really powerful stuff. And it might sound crazy, but I've lived this. If you had to pick one skill for your personal development, I would pick the thing that would make everything else easier. I would pick the one skill that, if you mastered it, would make most other skills unnecessary. Now, I talk more about this in a video I'm going to post right here for you. It's about the 7 levels of mind body healing. And it's the same concept, but it shows you where you start and how you progress through this. So go ahead and check out that video. I'll see you there.